Hi, my name is Rhea Shinde. I'm a senior and an environmental studies student in the program on the environment. The title of my project is The Role of Social Norms in Water Conservation Behavior Interventions. I completed a large part of my research while interning with the Alliance for Water Efficiency this past summer. The Alliance for Water Efficiency, also known as AWE, is an organization that focuses on water conservation and efficient use. AWE, in looking for new ways to promote water conservation, has started to take steps into the world of behavioral economics and behavior change. Researching the applicability of such ventures was the subject of my internship. To understand why AWE is pursuing behavioral economics, you'll need a little bit of background. So the US is on the cusp of a water crisis. For one, 40 out of 50 states expect to be affected by water shortages by 2024. If you're from Seattle, you might recall that this summer, Seattle Public Utilities was asking its customers to voluntarily reduce their water consumption. This request was not a one-off response to a dry season, but part of a larger growing pattern. Rapidly changing climate and weather patterns and rising population have put undue stress on the Earth's water supply. An increase in droughts and evaporation rates caused by rising temperatures, alongside consumption-driven interruptions to the water cycle, mean natural water supplies aren't being replenished at a sustainable rate. Additionally, a growing population means that overall water consumption is increasing, putting 54% of Americans at risk for water vulnerability. SPU's plea to its customers reflects a renewed interest in residential water consumption. Previous consumption declines can be attributed to improvements in regulation and technology. This means domestic consumption still offers much room for improvement because consumer behavior is still untapped. Behavioral economics, a relatively new field of study, is focused on behavior change, particularly the effect of social and psychological factors on an individual's behavior. Residential water behavior can be difficult to address since it happens at home and is thus generally private. Behavioral economics informed interventions tend to be minimally invasive and low cost to implement, which is why AWE identified them as a promising way to address residential water consumption. The social component of behavior was of particular interest to me because, as mentioned, residential water use is largely private and seems to be outside the social realm. This is why my research question is about the extent to which social norms drive an individual's water conservation behavior. After all, if social norms are not an existing factor in how an individual uses water in the first place, they can't be leveraged for anything. My internship task was to research the relevance and applicability of behavioral economic principles to residential water conservation, particularly how they might be implemented by utility companies. I conducted a literature review on behavioral economics and how it's been used in past environmental and conservation efforts. Based on the literature review, I created a list of recommendations for AWE of best practices for applying behavioral economics to water conservation. In addition, I created and distributed a survey for Greater Seattle area residents on their views and behaviors surrounding water use. This survey included 9 questions about an individual's water use beliefs and behaviors, as well as the water use beliefs and behaviors of an individual's social circle. It had 33 respondents. Here, I've highlighted the 2 most significant results of my survey. First, I found that individuals who identified themselves as environmentally minded were more likely to report norms around water conservation in their social group. Here, figure 1 compares 2 questions. One is about the importance that the respondent puts on environmental issues, and the second is about the opinions and values the respondent's social circle puts on conservation efforts. The positive correlation we see could mean a couple of things. For one, environmentally minded people are likely more sensitive to environmental norms. They are more likely to hold values around the correct or most environmentally friendly thing to do, and so are more likely to respond to social sanctions or approval around such actions. Additionally, most people tend to have like-minded social circles. This means, regardless of norm sensitivity, environmentally friendly people probably encounter environmental norms more than the average person. So, water conservation norms influence environmentally minded individuals' water use to a larger extent than non-environmentally minded individuals. Here, figure 2 draws attention to the power of priming when considering social norms. So priming is the concept that exposure to a stimulus can impact an individual's response to a subsequent stimuli. In this instance, social priming refers to the condition where individuals were asked to reflect on their social circle's consumption values before they were asked to reflect on their own. In the non-primed conditions, individuals reported their own consumption opinions before considering their social circle. Interestingly, individuals were more likely to report that a social norm around water use existed, the social norm being that wasting water is unacceptable when they were socially primed. This difference indicates that priming can help make social norm interventions more effective. Social behavior interventions rely on the influencing effect of social norms. Increasing an individual's perception or sensitivity to a social norm before leveraging it is likely to increase the impact it has. So the extent that social norms influence individual water use behavior varies. In particular, individuals who are already environmentally minded are more impacted by social norms. Additionally, social norm prevalence in behavior can potentially artificially be increased, at least temporarily, by priming individuals to pay attention to social factors. So environmentally minded individuals are particularly good candidates for conservation behavior change, and social priming is an important technique that should be utilized in behavior interventions. While these findings have direct applications to residential water conservation, they have broader implications as well. As I've mentioned, behavioral economics is still a growing field, and it is largely untapped as an environmental strategy. Common wisdom has said that if people have all the necessary information, they will reform their behavior to match that information. The dangers of climate change and overconsumption have been known for decades, but change has not followed, not with the vigor and magnitude we know to be necessary. Behavioral economics and social norm leveraging can provide environmentalists with a path forward. Thank you for listening.